but I could find flaws in his ideas, which he would then refine. As we passed along the road, he would comment that here would make a good site for a castle, or there would be an ideal place to ambush. He would stop when we found somewhere where we could fight a battle and study the place, so that if he ever returned, he would know that we could win. It is a pity that Count Ramon does not use the Moorish mounted archers. They are a most useful tool. King Ferdinand did not use them, and King Sancho only used them when you led his armies. I think it will take some time for Christian and Moor to fight in the same army. And until that day this land will be divided. I shall change that. We halted at a small unnamed hamlet to dismount and water our horses. As a knight, even though in exile, Don Rodrigo was treated with great respect by the ordinary people of both Christian Spain and the Taifa. They brought us food, and as we ate in the shade of the trees, he continued his talk to me. Put aside religion, William Redbeard, for it has a tendency to colour men's judgment. I nodded. Our task is to fight for rulers. Why? It was a good question, and I felt that I was not qualified to answer, and yet Don Rodrigo's eyes bored into me seeking an answer. So that the people of that land can live in peace. He laughed. That is my purpose, but I do not think it is in the minds of most kings and emirs. Yusuf al-Mutamin ibn Hud is like his father, and he is a cultured man who likes books. He was the emir of Zaragoza, and I had been his father's bodyguard for a brief spell. As was his father, but you do not think that the emir cares for the happiness of his people, do you? Most kings and emirs want their people subservient. When we fight for rulers, it is to maintain the integrity of their lands or to enlarge them. Does it matter if that is done with knights or with the Moorish horse archers? I thought about that, and he was right. As we mounted our horses to continue east, I said, What does Count Ramon wish? Is it to enlarge or to maintain? He smiled. It is good to talk to you, William, for your questions are like keys which open hidden doorways in my mind. I smiled at the compliment. I did not see myself as a clever man, just a warrior who was hard to kill. I think that he has ambitions to take over Zaragoza, but lacks the army to do so. If I can persuade him to hire Moorish horse archers, then I believe we can give him the chance to rule a land which is the size of Leon and Castile. I nodded. Yet we fought for Zaragoza. And we may fight for the Taifa again, but we now have a priority, and that is to become so powerful that King Alfonso will have to rescind our exile, and I can return to Burgos and my home and family. I have a son and 2 daughters I would like to see grow. He laughed. And I would like Diego, my son, to be trained by you as I was. It was my turn to laugh. I do not think your young son would appreciate being trained by a relic like me. Don Rodrigo became more serious. Do not underestimate yourself, William. When my father hired you to train my cousin and me, he did Spain the greatest service for you, made me the warrior I am today. Shaking my head, I said, I took a young man who already had talent and made him better. I pointed to Tizona, hanging from his baldric. I honed you and sharpened you, but you were like your sword. You were made ready for war, and all that I did was to temper the blade. The county of Barcelona was an island of Christianity in the west. Thanks to Don Rodrigo and the battles we had fought for King Ferdinand, it was less isolated than it had been, and Aragon had now devoured part of the Taifa of Zaragoza. Count Ramon had inherited Aragon through his mother. We hoped that he would wish us to serve him, as Don Rodrigo had never yet been defeated, and Count Ramon would jump at the chance to hire the warrior who had defeated both of Count Ramon's enemies. The Catalans had much in common with the Aragonese, but it did not do to mention that to them, for they were fiercely independent. As we passed through their land, we saw that the lords who lived there had emulated the Franks and built castles. Don Rodrigo could not help himself, and he viewed each castle and town we saw as a potential target to be either attacked or defended depending upon which side needed us. If the Count was a wise man, then he would accept Don Rodrigo's offer of military advice. When we reached his court, things did not begin well and rapidly deteriorated. The hospitality we had been shown on our way to the coast